My name is Camille Bechet. I'm a sound engineer from Paris, France, and I work as a front of house and monitor tech now for 11 years. So right now I'm on tour with a band called Palais Royal from Canada, and I toured a lot with metal bands such as Solstaffe, Being as an Ocean, Betraying the Martyrs, The World Alive, The Faceless, Crown the Empire. I used to be even more specialized in metal, and I started working with rock bands, and I think it's really interesting to diversify the bands I'm working with so I don't get stuck in a way of mixing. I don't have tips or tricks related to especially metal. The thing I always end up coming down to is work the source. Always. That's what's always ended up getting my mix better. If something's wrong, try to see why it doesn't sound right at the beginning and fix it where it comes from. Before trying to process it and EQ it and compress it or anything. I got so much better results by changing the way I was actually taking the sound or the way the sound was produced. So one example for that is for metal bands where you want this punchy, very aggressive kick sound. I'm now using a suspension system that you put in the kick, and that allows you to have your microphones always at the exact same position, and that you can fine tune to be in the perfect spot. And that working with this kind of systems makes for a huge improvement, way more than processing tips or tricks. I'm always going to think about what I want to get from the source, and the technical part about getting the audio is going to be the same for me, whatever the kind of music it is. Then the processing, the mixing process will be totally different, but the first part, audio I'm getting, is going to be the same. I chose to become a sound engineer in my late teenage years. I started working for PA companies for 4 or 5 years until I scored my first gig with a metal band, and then I just ended up touring and touring more and left the PA and production side behind me, as touring was really what I wanted to do. I think there's a reason that as a French tech, I'm working 99% for international bands, like British band, American bands. It's because in the scene I'm working in, it's very centered around pop and rap music. There's not much happening in France, and there's no support for those scenes. So the touring conditions, putting on a tour in those scenes, is really hard. And the bands that are managing to do it usually get big outside of France before being able to draw and to put out tours in France. I think 1% of my gigs actually end up being in France. Frozen Tour is a live crew collective. So we started only with sound engineers, but now we have tour managers, LDs. We started thinking about that when we had offers for gig we couldn't take because we're already busy. And we were we want to be able to give the gig to someone we trust and that we rely on, where we can have communication and go through everything the customer is waiting. So with Tim and Chris, the two other first guys, we kind of pulled the bands we are working for, and to make sure that every band will get someone they can trust, and that the information are gonna flow between each of us. So if a band, for example, if their usual guy is not available, one of the other guys is gonna fill in for them, and we're gonna exchange show file, we're gonna go together on everything the band's waiting for, all their specificities, all the kids they're touring with, to make sure that it's a flawless and transparent transition for them.